The NonStop Radio Show.
Non-stop hip-hop.
The hottest underground hip-hop and R&B show on this side of the net.
I'm feeling fresher than a new fade. Cool days, troubles gone like some loose change. I'm on my groove thing, building up my brute strength like Luke Cage. Now my motivation looking longer than a school day. Hey, I'm just back on my winning ways. It's time to focus on myself like Kim and Ye. I had to take a step back from that center stage, get my mind right. Now life's sweeter than some Minute Maid. Hey, I'm just back on the business phase. A mental state no longer interested in glitter fame. Ooh, getting paid off this written phrase. I got them asking, say, boy, why the different name? Shh, if you know, then you know why. This industry is dirty way they try to own rights. Save my dope rhymes back when I would ghost write. Now I'm about to make it twice without a cosign. I've been feeling fine. I be on my grind. Can't no one stop my shine. Can't stop my I've been feeling fine. I be on my grind. Can't no one stop my shine. Can't stop my shine. Feeling fresh, probably looking like a new car smell. Nowadays rappers all got a few tall tales. Me, I'm tight-lipped, probably think the crew cartel. There ain't nothing you can sell me we can't do ourselves. I'm a grown man, never been about that view chasing. Why I care what one thinks if he got two faces? Just because I'm older now don't mean I grew patience. Talent got me this far, don't see no use changing. I ain't good at small talking or the politicking. I went from a top position to a cotton prison, to being free and being homeless, not a pot to piss in. Now I'm back like the remote that you just thought was missing. Don't see no opposition, just out here doing me. They call me new, but I wrote hits when they were losing teeth. Trying to sell me up on game, I guess they student teach. Winner's circle always looks so clear from the loser's league. I've been feeling fine. I be on my grind. Can't no one stop my shine. Can't stop my I've been feeling fine. I be on my grind. Can't no one stop my shine. Can't stop my shine. The sun is shining. Or maybe that's my view of life. A little rain can't wash the depth away from beauty's eyes. True advice, perception's all about how you use the light. This world reciprocates the energy that you oblige. You hold the power of the thought, you choose to focus merit. And that's a gift we choose to use, not things you don't inherit. The pool to chase the golden carrot is just overbearing. New is never new, long we getting joke embarrassed. I told my parents I was grateful for the L's I take. The lessons gained from loss are greater than successes made. They formed the man and paved the way for your corrections phase. My work ethic deserves credit for better days. I'm on my new improve, cause I refuse to lose. Learn from my mistakes, now building back like I was using tools. I'm feeling me, that's energy that I consume as fuel. Cause hardships are card tricks to prove it's true. I've been feeling fine. I be on my grind. Can't no one stop my shine. Can't stop my I've been feeling fine. I be on my grind. Can't no one stop my shine. Can't stop my shine.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Once again, it's your boy EMillio EgBar. And I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into tonight's presentation as EJP Entertainment Presents the Artist Spotlight. You already know what it is. We at the point of our show where we are joined by tonight's special guest. But before we do so, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you go follow us on IG at EJP_Entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Once again, it's your boy EMillio EgBar, and I want to say thank you to each of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in here to yet another episode of this show here tonight. And if you haven't done so yet, please do us that solid and make sure you go follow us on IG at EJP_Entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP Entertainment. Or you can check out the visual side of this platform by going over to our YouTube channel at EJP Entertainment. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like, share the videos, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date when we are dropping brand new content for all of y'all out there to watch and enjoy. And here tonight, folks, we are at the point of our show where we are joined by our special guest. And let me tell you, this individual right here, this young man that's coming to the stage next, got a very, very, very interesting name that we're going to talk about, and I would like to know more about that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and help me welcome to the show Someone Called Someone. Yo, what's good, man? How's everything?
Hey, man, what's going on? How are y'all today?
Everything is good, man. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
No doubt, man.
Thanks for having me.
You're absolutely welcome, man, and thank you, man. And with that being said, I'm gonna just go ahead, before we give you the opportunity to give yourself, say to our audience, and everything like that, give them a little bit of your backstory and all that. I want to just know, man, what made you go with the name Someone Called Someone? That one right there is very unique. So, what was that about?
Well, I mean, growing up, my mom always used to tell me that I was going to grow up and be someone. So I just thought I'd put it right in the name. Clearly, my mom can't be wrong, right?
Right.
If she said it, it's got to be true. She also said I was handsome. I don't know about that one.
Nah, much respect, man. I like that one. I was like, Someone Called Someone. I'm like, yo.
So the whole basis behind the name is, I did music previously. Had fair success, did some touring, fell into drug addiction real bad, and walked away from music entirely for 8 years. I tried to kind of stay in it sober after I'd gotten out, and it didn't feel the same. I couldn't be around the same people. I couldn't hang around the same crowds. I couldn't perform the same way. And so ultimately I just made the decision that a sober life for me can include music. And so I walked away entirely. And 7 months ago or so, I kind of, just out of curiosity, I didn't know if I even still could do it or still had it or could be relevant in today's market. I picked it back up and I made a song and I released it, and it got some pretty favorable responses. So, but I created the name around that, man. Like I'm no one important. I'm just another guy. I'm not trying to get my face all out there. I'm not trying to be known. I'm not in this for the vanity. I'm just trying to tell stories. And so who I am is not important. What I have to say is I'm just someone called someone. Telling stories.
I respect that. I like the anonymity about that because it makes you focus more so on the music than the individual itself. And I kind of got a little bit of experience about that when I was listening to your song, and we're going to get in that into, just a bit and everything like that. And I kind of understand where you're going at when it says, just going by the name alone and just not really wanting people to focus on you as the individual, but more so as the music and the message that you're trying to deliver. And with that being said, what message are you trying to deliver to the people?
Man, I'm just trying to let people know that everybody goes through hard times, and I'm nobody special. I ain't no different than the next person. And if I've been through the things that I've been through and it came out the other side, then anybody can do it. So I just want to share all of those experiences with people. If I can give somebody else strength or hope, or allow them to feel like they have the ability to go through what I've been through and make it to the other side like me, then they know that if I did it, anybody can, because I can assure you I'm nobody special.
Absolutely. I understand that one right there, man. So, going back a little bit, man, like what originally got you into making music?
So originally poetry. It goes back all the way to elementary school. I'd written a poem for a class assignment, and my teacher had called my mom and was like, "Hey, this is really, really good, and I want to submit this for publication." And there's a magazine called Reader's Digest, and they picked it up and published it. And after that, I was kind of like, "Well, this is really cool. This is something that I think I could be good at." And my mom's very musically inclined, and so we were writing poems and doing songs. And the first song that I ever wrote, I wrote with my mom. It was called Rule Book to Life, and it wasn't rap at all. It was singing, and I very quickly realized, well, I can't sing. So, but I had this passion for music now, and so it kind of led me into rap. And man, yeah, the rest is history. The more and more I got into the wordplay and melody and everything, it became a passion.
That's interesting to me, because I always felt like, those artists that have a poet background always makes the best music, just like I feel as though like DJs or producers that have a DJ background tends to produce the best when it comes down to it. And I kind of shared that, similar experience with you with, writing out poems when I was younger and everything before it eventually turned into writing music and stuff like that, man. So I can definitely see now where the wordplay and the storytelling comes from and listening to your music, because before you called in, I was listening to your single Smooth, and I'm just like, yo, this right here, not only is the beat fresh and all that stuff, but just listening to the storytelling and just the way you put the words together and everything, I can hear that poet background coming out of you when, I listen to your music and all that stuff like that, man. So like along the way, you transition from poetry into the music scene and everything like that. Then you had your drop off. So like during the years of your drop off, man, like what was going on with you then? Like, was you just fed up of music at that time, or was just, life was just, you was dealing with life at that time?
Man, it wasn't that I was fed up with music. It killed me, because music was such an important and big aspect of my life. It killed me to have to walk away, but I knew that, so that, the trade-offs were, if I don't remain sober, I'm going to either wind up locked up forever or dead, both of which were very viable options. Or I can walk away from music and try to rebuild something that resembles a normal functioning life and have, a family and friends and relationships and all these things that I can find fulfillment in. So without sobriety, there wasn't a life to be had, whether music was involved or not. So I chose life over music in that instance. And now that, I'm a couple weeks away from celebrating 9 years sober, and I feel confident and stable in my sobriety, and nothing's going to knock that off. And so now I feel like I can kind of pursue that passion again. But that also kind of goes back to the whole anonymity thing. Is one of the things that leads to all of that for me specifically is ego. And so if I got my face out there and I'm receiving and I'm seeking external validation from other people for the way that I look or how they treat me on stage or all of these different things, I'm going to start seeking that more and more and more. And then that leads me into further insecurities. And what do I do to fix those insecurities? I turn to drugs or alcohol or things that take away those inhibitions. And so this time pursuing music, I don't want that. It's all about the art for me.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna sit comfortably back in my house. I'm gonna record and write music and release music, and just it's all about the art.
Absolutely.
I don't need the attention or the fame or anything like that.
I respect that, man. First and foremost, I just want to, say congratulations on 9 years being sober. That's definitely a big accomplishment, man. A lot of people out there really don't realize just how tough it can be to live a sober life. I come from a family that had, a lot of addicts and a lot of people that was dealing with addictions and different demons that, unfortunately some of them wasn't able to walk away from. So 9 years sober, we want to make sure that, we give you your flowers and congratulate you on that.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. I've known a lot of people along the way that didn't make it, man. And it's one of those things, once you kind of really accept it and start looking around, you see, man, there's so many people that struggle with it that you just don't know, and there's so many people that never get out of it, man. And it's really a tragedy. So I feel very, very blessed to have been able to sit where I'm sitting today and say that I've seen through the other side.
Absolutely, man. And going back just a little bit now to what you were saying prior to just that few seconds ago, you had mentioned the fact that if you was to get back out there and putting your face out there and everything like that, it would bring up a bunch of insecurities again, and you would find yourself turning back into your addictions. But with that being said, I like the the element of anonymity. We don't have a lot of that too much anymore in the music, because when it boils down to it, everybody wants to be the face of everything. They want to be the face out there that everybody knows and recognize when they go to the grocery store and stuff like that. And being that now we're more so in a digital age where everybody is looking more so to see the face behind the music, how would you navigate that? Would you just come up with something, say like an animated character or something like like create a persona, or is it just going to be strictly towards the music?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question, and it's actually something that I've been thinking more and more about. I, as it's catching more traction and more people are starting to tune in. It's something that I'm really having to think about that I hadn't previously. So, I actually had kind of the animated character is definitely something that's probably a real possibility there.
I think that would be dope, man. Give somebody an animated character, especially for the people that don't want to be out there in the limelight and everything. Because, when it comes to the music industry, there are a lot of people out there that aren't too comfortable with having their face in front of so many people, listening to their music and stuff like that. So that would be dope and all that. But, also with that being said, man, we talking about, your single Smooth. And I was listening to it just a few minutes ago. It got like kind of giving me like a West Coast bounce to it, but it kind of got like a down south feel, but then it got like an East Coast feel to it when it comes to the music. So like what kind of what was you combining with that song when you was sitting down to produce it?
Well, so I didn't produce that record was produced by a friend of mine named Dope Sean, and he's actually from the West Coast. He's very proud, he's an incredible West Coast producer. He actually produced the whole EP, and I'm from the South. I'm from Texas, so West Coast and the South. That's where those two sounds came from. As far as if there's East Coast elements in there, that's just from the people that I like listening to, and I guess I subconsciously, picked up a few little habits from the people that I love listening to. But yeah, I wouldn't have personally probably thought that it really had many East Coast elements to it, but my writing style could easily favor the people that I've always looked up to in the industry. So I could see where that could come from. And as far as, I don't ever sit down with a song and say like, hey, I'm going to write this kind of song. I never write to a beat until I hear a melody. So I'll listen to a beat. If I don't hear a melody for the hook in the first 30 seconds, I'll usually skip it. Very, very rarely, if I don't hear it in the first 30 seconds, will I ever hear it. So I kind of get a melody, and then I let the melody tell me the vibe and the direction the song needs to go. And then I just kind of take off from there. And I've always said I don't write the songs. I just follow direction. The beat tells me what I need to do. I just fill in the blanks.
Absolutely, man. And I like that approach to writing. Even back when I was finding myself, not to make it about myself or whatever, but even back when I was, pursuing a career as far as, wanting to be an artist or a musician at that time, I always felt like, the songs that came out the best was the ones that I didn't think about too much or put too much thought into it. Just listen to the beat and let it guide me in the direction that it should be. Is that like that for all of your songs, like on this particular series, or do you have some songs that you actually sat down and thought about?
So I try never to sit down and write. And I've noticed just with me, if I ever sit down and I'm like, hey, I'm going to write a song right now, or I'm going to write a song today, it always feels forced. And those are always the songs that I either like less or never end up releasing. So I try never to sit down with the intent to write. I'll have, like, if I finish a song, I'll say, okay, I need something new to write to. And so I'll search through beats that I have or that have been sent to me or ones that I've made and kind of figure out, okay, this is the next one that I want to write to. And then I just go about my day. And I have that beat either playing in my headphones or in my head, just on a loop all day. And I kind of just open the little notes section on my phone and I jot down lines as they come. And at the end of the day, I might have one line written, I might have 4 lines written, I might have 3 songs written, but I just kind of let it come organically. So anytime I sit down, it feels forced. It doesn't feel organic. I like to just kind of let the day inspire me, let the words kind of just go the direction that they will. And each line just feels more natural that way.
I like that approach to it too, man. And that song Smooth, man, I keep going back and forth to it because that is the first song I actually had the chance to listen to. And I'm just like, man, that right there is an incredible piece of work by the two of you, man, coming together and making that possible. I appreciate it, man. You're absolutely welcome, man. It got me interested. It got me interested in wanting to hear the whole entire series, and that goes by the Moods EP series. And I understand that right now you're up to volume 2.
That's correct. Yeah. So volume 1 is like that's your deep thinking, introspective, kind of thought provoking storytelling type songs. Volume 2 is, all right, we've done enough of this serious stuff. Let's roll the windows down and let's turn it up and let's have a little fun with it. Mm-hmm. And then volume 3, I don't want to say too much on that, but yeah, it kind of starts incorporating some different genre elements and sounds altogether. So the idea behind the whole Mood series was, you know, you take 10 years off of music, you come back, I mean, music's not the same. MySpace was barely started. I mean, Facebook was still for college kids. You know what I mean? So it's different. The sounds are different. What people like are different. The way that you release music is different. Everything is different. And so if I just came back and started doing what I did when I quit, then I don't know that there'd be a place for me. And so the kind of in getting back to it, you know, I was playing with different sounds. I was playing with different styles and kind of, you know, writing techniques, hook melodies, genre influences, etc. And I kind of started to notice a pattern, like, hey man, I've got, you know, several songs that kind of fit this category and several songs that kind of fit this category. And so I was like, well, I'm going to do an EP series where I'm each one is completely different from each other, and just kind of see what feels the most natural to me, because at the end of the day, that's what I want. I want it to be natural. I want it to be organic and authentic to me. And I'm kind of just rediscovering who I am as an artist and how I've changed over the past decade, and, you know, who do I want to be in today's landscape? Mm-hmm. What is my sound now?
Now, being that you took so much time off from, you know, music in general, and, you know, sounding, you know, from the sounds of you come from the era where, you know, when music actually had, well, I don't want to say not had meaning, because, you know, some people out here, their music still has meaning to it today, but it definitely came from a different era back then to what we're hearing now. So, like, was it easier for you to adjust getting into this new age of the music industry, or was it something that you had to really take time to adapt to and just, you know, go forward and see how you know, fit in today's modern era?
No, I mean, there's definitely a transition, and I don't even think that I'm there yet or am even done. I'm still kind of learning. I mean, you say the word rapper, now you line up 10 different people in the industry who call themselves a rapper. Mm-hmm. 7 of them are singing with auto-tune. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's very few legitimate rappers, storytellers out there left. And so, I mean, in the underground scene, man, there's some insanely talented people that are still kind of doing what I would consider traditional or, you know, classic rap styles. But in the mainstream, you don't hear that. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd say it's still a learning process, and it's still something that I'm kind of evolving into.
You're right about that.
Where it's going to end up, I don't know.
You're right about that, man. Definitely that, you know, that art of storytelling is definitely a lost art nowadays. You know, you got some people out there that can do it, but then you got a lot of people out there that's like, nah, stick to what you do best, man. But that storytelling is something that I like the most, you know, because when it comes down to it, you kind of giving me like a visual interpretation, listening through your music of the, you know, the picture that you're trying to paint when it comes to the storytelling. Like, was that something that you always look to do, or do you have your moments where you just, you know, it's not always about the storytelling in the music?
Man, I would say that, yeah, primarily, yeah, I love the storytelling or message. It's one of the two. I want you to feel something when you listen to my music. And so even on the songs that I would say are not meant for that, there's still an underlying message or some kind of underlying story element to it, to my writing. And that's how I grew up. It's what I loved listening to when I was most influenced in developing my original sound and writing abilities. And so I think that no matter what I try to do, there's always going to be elements of that. I mean, this EP was supposed to be the EP where I didn't do that. And if you listen, and I just wrote fun records, stuff that makes people feel good, stuff that gets people dancing, stuff that has the windows down. And even still with these songs, you listen to it and you really kind of start to dissect the lyrics, and it still exists. It's just on maybe a slightly lower level.
Now, you know, you got the the Mood series EPs that's out right now and everything like that, are you looking to stay more so in that lane, just like putting out series, or are you going to do something a little bit different when your next project comes up? Because I understand, like, you know, close to the end of this year, you're planning to release an album as well. So are you going to stay along the path of dropping, you know, projects in a series format, or are you going to break away from that?
So I don't really have a plan, man. I don't have an end goal. I don't have a plan. I'm just getting in the studio and creating, and then whatever kind of happens from that process is what I do. So as of right now, volume 3 of the EP series is already done and ready for release. My album is done and ready for release, and then volume 4 of the EP series is in the early stages. So I'm probably about half written, but I kind of, you know, I've got a clear direction of what I want the cohesive sound to be, and that's really it. That's the plan. Beyond that, you know, I don't know what direction everything's going to go. Obviously, I'm kind of judging public reception to each one of the EP series to kind of see what's digested well, and then obviously kind of, you know, what feels the best to make. What do I enjoy making? Because there's songs that I'll make that other people love, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay, it's fair. And then there's songs that I love and other people don't. You know, it's not necessarily digested well, and so, you know, still kind of learning this landscape of how music has changed since I've been gone.
Mm-hmm. Now, overall, what would you say most of the response has been to your music? You know, like, I know you got, you know, sort of like mixed reviews when it comes down to it, just as every artist, you know, does tend to have that happen. But what has been the most people have said really about your music?
I mean, everyone talks about the writing. You know, I've been hearing I can't sing for 20 years, but I promise you every song I sing, or every song I do is going to have me singing. So they can get over that. They don't like it, move around. I like melody. I like to sing. I think I can hold a fair enough tune to get away with it. So I'm going to keep on doing it because it makes me feel good. But everybody talks about the writing. Even the people that, you know, are saying like, yeah, you know, that song, the hook really didn't do anything for me, or I don't like the beat on this one, but the writing, the verses. Everyone always seems to respond extremely well to that. And I'm a writer at heart. So, I mean, that's really what I live for.
I'm gonna have to go back and really check out your music, man, because I think some people just, you know, especially in this era now, social media era, you know, you got a lot of trolls out there as well too. So it could just be coming from a place of jealousy. Maybe somebody feels though like, oh, I probably would sound better on this, so I'm gonna demean this song or whatever because I feel as though I could do it better, or this song is just so fucking good that I can't even do it, so I'm just gonna hate regardless. Sometimes I feel as though that it could be a little bit of that.
You know, and that could be true, but I mean, I would say that from my peers, from the people who create music, I've got nothing but very positive feedback. I mean, everyone, you know, when you're a creative, you judge or analyze or look at music and hear music differently than just as a fan. So, I mean, from my peers, from the people that I know that are also creatives, I mean, the response has been very, very humbling and very great. Public reception is, you know, I mean, just like with anybody, you can't make one song that's going to appeal to everybody.
True.
And also too, I mean, I'm not naive to the fact that, you know, I can't get away from my roots. So I think that, you know, there's people that don't necessarily like the Southern style of music. And then there's people who don't necessarily care for old school hip hop. You know, I get a lot of that. You go to my YouTube channel and start looking at comments. There's a lot of people like, oh man, I love the old school vibes. Oh man, this is reminding me of some old school Zero, or hey man, this guy's got an old school feel. And I just respond back the same way. And when you're old, man, we just call them vibes. You might be old school to you, but they're just school to me. So, I mean, you know, it's not, I think a lot of it just has to do with what people like. And, you know, hey, one person's incapable of making a song that everyone receives well.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna be honest, man, like, you know, I listen to music, you know, throughout the years. You know, I'm a 80s baby, grew up in the 90s and all that stuff like that, so I had the opportunity to see, you know, different eras of music and see how the music has evolved or, you know, digressed in some senses. And I ain't gonna lie, man, like, you know, when I look back at it, you know, when the South really started taking over the music industry in the mid 2000s, I wasn't really feeling too much of the South at that time. You know, some of the artists that was coming out, because I'm one of those people, I like that old school hip hop. I like the, you know, things about lyrics and stuff like that. So it took me a little while to get used to the dancing and the different way music sounds today. But when I look back at it now, when I listen to a lot of the music that's going on right now, it made me appreciate more of the older Southern artists that was coming out around the time when I was growing up, and also during that era that I didn't like so much. When I listen to a lot of the music now, I'm just like, yo, like, some of it just not my cup of tea. I understand there's other people out there that like it and enjoy it, but like, I still like that, you know, that style of music that tells a story. I still like that style of music that makes me feel like I could connect with the artist to some kind of degree, that makes me relate to them in some sense, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's, you know, from back when I did music before, that was one of the things that as a Southern artist you're always fighting against, is the public perception of Southern artists is dumb lyrics. That's always been the case. You know, East Coast is where you go if you want to listen to some deep thought. West Coast has got the anthems and the bangers, and then you go to the South and they've got melodic choruses and dumbed down verses, and that's always kind of been the public reception or perception. I'm sorry. And so as a Southern artist who is into lyrics, who is into rhyme schemes and all of these different things, that's always something that you're fighting against. I've noticed in today's era, it does not seem to be as bad as it used to be in that regard. But I mean, that's still there. People still kind of have those same opinions about the different, you know, regions of the United States and the kind of music that comes out of each sector. And that's so when you know, Houston specifically, you know, Houston had its big blow up, and that was probably about the height of my little music career previously as well. That you know, 2007 to 2013 era, you know, there's you listen to the people like Mike Jones and Paul Wall, and it's like, man, they're no offense to y'all guys, legends in Texas, but they're misrepresenting what I know that we can stand for, because you know, the lyrics here are a lot better than what these songs are showing. And yeah, they're fun, and yeah, they're catchy and all that, but like, that's not all we stand for. And then you have people like Ludacris or Chamillionaire that you really break down their lyrics, and it's like, man, these guys hang with the East Coasters. Like, so there's people, you know, there's in every different region of the United States, man, there's people that are doing it differently. And so I think that what's primarily synonymous with the Southern culture of music is those soulful kind of melodic choruses, and then verses. And, you know, I just happen to be one that takes pride in what those verses actually have to say.
Much respect to that one, man. And, you know, and it's sad, you know, when you listen to it, you know, just listening to what you just said just now and everything, and I totally agree with everything. But there's one thing I don't like about, you know, today's music is like, remember back in the days, like, you can listen to, you know, certain regions and you can tell that region represents that region, where nowadays, like, you listen to songs and it kind of sound like it's all universal. Like, you listen to, say for example, drill music, you know, you like, you know, Chicago started it, and, you know, and Atlanta picked it up, New York picked it up. But it's like, you can't differentiate where these artists are from in most cases, you know?
I would agree with that, and that's kind of holding true for genres as well. I feel like the genre lines are far more fluid in today's market than they ever have been in the past too, which I think is positive and negative, right? I mean, you know, it's going to allow people to appeal to broader crowds, right? But at the same time, you know, the people that are real genre specific, or like the old classic or the hip hop heads, you know, they're kind of losing some of those elements that they fell in love with originally. So it's just like with anything, man, with fashion, with music, with art, everything's always evolving, and it's just kind of what do you do? You either have to evolve with it or you die. And so finding ways to incorporate those new sounds and kind of change with the times while still holding true to yourself is, I think, what makes great people great.
Yeah, absolutely right in that respect, man. And I do appreciate that answer right there, man. You're right. And a lot of things, a lot of us, we get stuck in our ways and we like to go about doing things the old way. But like you said, man, in this new evolving age, if you don't adapt to it, you're going to get left behind. So that's definitely a gem right there. And one thing I want to ask you also.
The way of the world, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before we get ready to wrap up everything, I just got something I want to ask you. It's something that just came up to me out of curiosity. Now, I know your whole persona right now is to stay pretty much anonymous. You want people to resonate more so with your message and your music more so than your identity and just being the face of your music. Now, should an opportunity to perform live or be able to tour with your music was to present itself, how would you handle that?
So I don't know. That's the honest answer. I would say right now, I mean, I've already been offered, several opportunities locally, and I've declined. And for today, the answer is I'm going to continue to do so. Yes, I've played around with different scenarios on what it would take to change that. And I don't know. I mean, that's just going to be one of those bridges that we're going to have to cross when we get there. So I would say right now I'm very comfortable continuing doing things the way that I'm doing. Is there a scenario that exists out there that could make me change that? Yeah, probably. I don't know what that looks like yet, though. So I would say the most important thing to answer with that question is if I feel as though I can protect the life I have, respect my family that I've built, and maintain my sobriety and myself while doing that, then maybe the opportunity exists. If I feel like any of those other three things would be lost, then it's not worth it.
I respect that, man. That's a real good answer too, man, because a lot of people out there believe that, the lifestyle, the fame, the fortune, the money is all worth it. And it's like, to quote the saying, and I don't want to misquote or anything like that, but to lose your soul while you gain the world is just not a good thing to happen, man. And like, I respect that answer because you got so many people out there that are willing to sacrifice their integrity and their peace of mind and their personal life in order to have all these things, and sometimes it's not very conducive or beneficial to them at all. So I do respect that, man.
Absolutely. I think there's a word for that.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't think of it.
But yeah, no, I definitely, I definitely agree, man. It's that's, I think that's just things that life humbles you. You know what I mean? And so once you've gone through those experiences, your perspective on all of that kind of changes.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's it. We learn, we grow, we get wiser.
That's it. And man, do you have any shout outs for anybody or any for the people out there that would like to get in contact with you and like to hear more of your music and follow you on social media and stuff like that? How can they make that possible?
All right, so I'm at Someone See Someone on all platforms. Well, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Don't have an IG yet. Maybe I'll get around to that one day. And yeah, check it out. I've got Volumes 1, Volume 2 of the Moods EP series out now. Volume 3 is on the way, probably looking at like a May release. And then I would say probably early fall for the album. And then we're going to kind of judge it from there and see where we go.
Absolutely, man.
Big shout out to Dope Sean. You can find him at Sean Made It Dope on Twitter. He produced the whole Volume 2 EP. Definitely need to check him out as well.
No doubt. And man, and we want to say thank you once again, and I strongly encourage everybody out there that's listening right now to go check out more from Someone Called Someone, because like I said, when you hear this song Smooth, you're going to be intrigued to listen to more of his music, man. Definitely got a dope sound to him, and I'm definitely looking forward to listening to more of his catalog, man. And we want to say thank you once again, man, and we appreciate you and your time and everything for calling in.
Hey, man, thank y'all so much for having me. Very, very humbled, very grateful. I appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome. And for everybody else out there, keep it locked and stay tuned. We'll be back with much more of the show right after this.
Yeah. They be telling me I'm smooth. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all just gonna have to follow me on this one. Hey, yeah.
They be telling me I'm smooth. I be moving this way and they be watching how I move. I'm just doing my thing, they wanna know what I do. I be taking it slow and they be telling me I'm smooth. I be saying I know, yeah, I be saying I know.
I took some lessons, learned life is how you look for blessings. Now it's too easy, think I'm playing on some rookie settings. Shout out to homie Sean, I'm going hard, growing large, digging deep. I'm living life like there ain't no tomorrow. Open arms, I got this feeling you can't bring down. I've seen enough to know that like it what you seek out. I'm free now, there ain't no worry that could be found. Traded in that brief cloud for family in my dream house. I'm on the vibe, I know. Only love up inside my soul. Hey, hey, finally living with some wide-eyed hope. And you can't knock me out my primetime zone. Hey, hey, I'm on the chapter 2. Now focus on that backward view. My past produced a focus she can't see without some tragic roots. I'm back to new, I live for me, and that's the path I choose. That's why I step with confidence. I'm strutting with my
telling me I'm smooth, smooth, smooth. I be moving this way, and they be watching how I move, move, move. I'm just doing my thing, they wanna know what I do. I be taking it slow, and they be telling me I'm smooth, smooth, smooth. And I be saying I know, yeah, I be saying I know.
The funny thing about some broke opinions is in the mirror, see my face is the only image. So what you think don't change how I know I'm living. I did the work to break the chains of that codependence. Faith is the golden ticket. Oh, I got that self-belief, and there ain't nothing you were telling me. Nah, 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 someone tell that judge I'm living well and free. I made a milli for his felony. Yeah, 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 groove on another planet. I'm well above the average, probably left the competition if I started running backwards. Troubled patterns to the doors of the upper classes. See, when you're confident in you, then really nothing matters. Ain't no worry, they be worth my time. Now energy be on my birthright grind. Yeah, yeah, keep it real and you can't blur fine lines. I speak the truth in every verse I write.
They be telling me I'm smooth, smooth, smooth. I be moving this way, and they be watching how I move, move, move. I'm just doing my thing, they wanna know what I do. I be taking it slow, and they be telling me I'm smooth, smooth, smooth. And I be saying I know, yeah, I be saying I know.